Hey folks, welcome back to Jerome Bee Farm and Homestead. It is June 10th, 2022, and man, it is a hot one today. It's almost 90 degrees and the humidity's like around 65%. We had a huge rain 3 days ago, got 5 inches. So over 5 inches. My rain gauge was at the top. You know, it couldn't go any higher. And we lost power, so my weather station, it didn't record the rain during that time, and it had 2.5 inches. So yeah, we got a lot of rain. The grass all over in here is just laid over because water was just flowing down this hill, and got a little bit of wash on my drive, and man, it was a hard rain. Pond is full, needless to say. So today I came down here on my lunch break, and I could hear bees just a-roaring. And I'm like, oh boy, I got a swarm. So they were all over the trees down there by the north hives, up above them, and I couldn't see where they were lighting. And I was looking, you know, for that ball of bees. Couldn't find them. And I kept following them, and I finally came over here, and they were all over in here. And I looked over on this Hive 18, and the front of it was just covered, and bees were boiling out of it. So that Hive 18 was swarming is what it was. And I hung around and watched them, you know, thinking, well, I'm going to take off work this afternoon because I'm going to be getting a swarm out of a tree, hopefully, and not flying off. But I just kept waiting, and they just kept getting thicker and thicker on that Hive 18, and they started working their way into it. So I don't know what that was, if it was a mating flight, but man, it was full-scale swarm to be a mating flight, and they all just went right back in. So I checked the honey super on that hive on June 4th, not long ago, and I noted it was 2/3 full, but I had not been into the hive body since April 30th. And what I noted then was it had a really nice looking unmarked queen that was laying, and no signs of queen cells, swarm cells. So I figured that hive was good, you know. And the prior queen, the prior year was blue, so they had superseded. So that queen in there's probably not even a year old, you know, calendar days wise. But yeah, so I didn't expect them to swarm. So this video, I'm going to do an inspection on that hive and see if we find swarm cells in there. And if we do, we can maybe make us a split or two and see if we can catch up on our nuke production, which has really been bad this year. Really poor success on mating queens in the nukes. So you probably saw a video before that. And if I can survive this inspection, I'm going to do another video right after this one, and I'm going to go check 3 of those 4 nukes that are left and see how they're faring, and I doubt it's very good. So with that, let's get started and get into Hive 18 and see what it looks like in there. See if we're going to be making some splits, or if it looks okay, or you know, I don't know what I'm going to find. So let's get in there and come along the journey with me, and we will see what we find. Okay, here's Hive 18 right here. Looks pretty calm now, a little bit out on the front there. So it's obviously a pretty strong hive. So let's get that super off of there. I'm a little concerned about queen being up in the super because there are a lot of bees gathered right up here. And look like some of them might have been using that top entrance to go back in. So if that queen went through there, she's going to be stuck up there in the super. So we might want to take a quick look up there. But, we're just going to set it aside for now. And my smoker fuel is damp, and it will not stay lit. I have to torch the crap out of it to get it going, and then it won't stay lit very long. Super's got some pretty good weight to it. I'd say it's close to full if it's not. They seem to be fairly calm. So it's about 6:30 or 7 in the evening, So I'm getting in here earlier than I have in the past to get started. So maybe they won't be so grumpy. So it's a well-populated hive. I see bees all the way across. It's in good shape. Got us a little bit of nectar out here and pollen. Capped honey at the top. Same thing here on the outside. And I got some new duct tape on my thumb. I got stung last night right on the thumb. Boy, that was painful. So we got us a nice brood pattern here, capped brood cells. We got drone larvae all across the bottom. Same on this side. This is a really strong hive. If I had another super, I would probably put one on it. Or I could go to a third deep and use it for honey. But man, those are heavy. So this one was stuck down to the bottom. So we may have us some swarm cells in this hive. Lots of capped worker brood right here. Looking for the unmarked queen. Yeah, it was just drone brood that pulled off down there. And this here is mostly pollen. A little bit of nectar mixed in, no eggs, I don't see any, no brood. I'm gonna clean this off here. And this one was stuck a little bit, not too much. I don't see any queen cells down there. We have capped worker brood all around here. Oh, a little bit of breeze coming through. Felt good. There are just too many bees in here to, easily spot a queen. They're just piled on these frames. Well, this side isn't so bad. And this side there are some larvae. We got some white larvae right in here. Here's some cap brood. So she's backfilled on this frame. Look for queen cells down here, don't see none. Wow, this hive is full. Just piles of bees on here. Ah, we've got us some queen cells right there. So now we need to see if there's any that are not opened. This one here is not open yet, but it's kind of cut on the side. That one's been killed by a queen. These are open. I need to look in there and see if those are developing or they've emerged. So yeah, this hive was swarming, and for some reason she came back, or it was one of these replacement queens out on a mating flight. So chances are our queen is going to be down in the bottom. What we might do on this hive is just a 50-50 split and try and find the queen at another time. Here's some queen cells down here. They all look like they've all been killed from the side. See how they're cut out the side? So I think our Victor queen has came out in here and she's killing all the other cells. I'm trying to lift these frames straight up as I can so I don't damage those cells. And looks like I pulled one apart right there. So now I'm kind of refocusing and looking more for small queens, not a big old queen. Here's some more brood. Here's a cell up high. And some of these aren't developed yet. So I think if we do a 50-50 split on this, we'll be safe. And make sure this frame and other frames are separate so we know we've got good queen cells in the top and bottom. So I've got that number 6 position empty over there, which is close. So I could just set this up over there. Let me look at a couple more frames and see. Maybe we'll spot us a virgin queen and we can catch her. Since they're so swarmy, I suspect the queen's going to be down in the bottom box, unless it's one that's just emerged. But yeah, they haven't put off a good sized swarm yet because there's too many bees in here. Here's some larvae. So there was a laying queen in here not too long ago. There's one little swarm cell in the bottom of that frame, and I don't think it's any good. It's too little. This is going to be honey here. Yeah, it's really heavy. It's all nectar. So I'm going to pick these up and set them down so I don't mess with those queen cells as much. Less chance of breaking one off. And I'm going to move. Well, I'm going to set this box back here and I want to look in the bottom. See how I'm picking these up and setting them down so they won't drag across that drone brood that's protruding up from the bottom that broke off. It all just match right up and hopefully not break off any more queen cells that might be good. I think that's where they started. And they're getting angry. Man, look at that big old ball of bees. Get this drone brood off of here. Get back down in there. Watch out here for queens. Oh man. Too many bees. It's a blank frame being drawn out. Lots of nectar. So I'm scanning for queens. Get my queen clip here on the ready. I'll sure not find one now. Actually, if we find a queen here, we'll probably just leave her because we're going to move that other box. It's got all those other cells and it's got one cell up high that I know that I didn't damage. And some of those ones down low will probably be okay. Wow, they're just rolling. Here's a good queen cell down here. So see that cell right there? Give me some focus. And see how they're climbing on it? Tells me there's queen in there. So seeing that, that's as good as seeing a queen here. So there's no need to dork with this down here anymore. So we'll just get it back in there nice and gently. I guess if we find our, there's too many bees. I was gonna say, if I find my original queen, I can take her out. That'd be like an artificial swarm. Because they're liable to swarm anyway, like this. They could if there's more than one cell in there. So these gloves, I found a maker. Mr. B, avoid them like the plague. They are terrible. Terrible, terrible. So even if my nice big fat original queen is over here, man, I doubt I would even find her. It is just so packed. Let's see, I need to get that excluder on. I think I'll leave the excluder on, or the super on this one rather than taking it over there, because the strength is going to be here with the field bees and all coming back. Man, what I could do, I've got another deep box because they're so crowded. I'm just going to put that deep on here. I'll keep talking myself into other stuff the longer we go. You probably just figured that out. So maybe if they get a deep box that's empty, and it'll demoralize them some, and maybe that queen won't swarm, the original one. I don't know, we'll see. So one of the things that drives swarming is crowding, and these bees are crowded. But once they started laying swarm cells, or putting in swarm cells, you know, they're planning on swarming. So this may not make any difference. Stinger in the glove. Trying to get these big clumps into the hive. I think I got a bee crawling up my leg. Smoke them down real good and I'll get that on there. Space! The final frontier. 3, 6, I'm short of frame. Jeez. I'm gonna go get one of those frames that's being attacked. No, I got those frames with the hive beetle larvae in them, but they should all be dead. Look at them boiling out of there. Let me go grab one of those frames. Wow. Can you believe I took a whole deep of bees off of that and it's already looking like this? And this has got a lot of uncapped brood in it. So all the hive beetle larvae, I laid it on the inner cover so it got hot. They all crawled out onto that tin and died. And ants were up there taking care of them. So they'll clean this up. So this is from a drone layer. So they'll clean this up. That's what Dirt Rooster says anyway. You ought to see some of his frames. All right. We're just gonna put the lid on. Set the lids on my super there. I'll go get the lid from over there off of Hive 6. Well, I got a lid and no inner cover. I got to run and get one of those. Looks like my smoker finally kicked off and lit. Some of these bees just want to be outside. I can't decide if I want my honey super here or with that other hive. I think this side is going to be stronger. And maybe they'll cap that off faster. They probably won't put any more in it, but I think our flow is pretty much over. Let's look at a few frames of that super. Oh my gosh! I should have put it on the shorter one. I think it's full, honestly. So it really don't matter where it goes, as long as there's bees to protect it. Yeah, look at all them bees on that top entrance there. So on the 4th, I said this was 2/3 full. Today's the 10th, and we've had 5 inches of rain. So even though it was 2/3 full, it was probably completely drawn, all of the frames. Let's grab one of these outside ones, take a peek. There's bees covering it. So that's your outside frame. That's usually the last one they will work on. And the one on the other side looks exactly the same. So like I said, I was concerned about a queen getting up here, but she won't lay because it's full. This is full of honey up here, so there's no undrawn comb for her to lay eggs in. Well, I said that. Now look at this. So here's one undrawn, and they're drawing that one out right now. This one looks like it's drawn on the inside, but not on the outside. I had some trouble in another super with these plastic frames because they sat for a year before I used them, and I think the wax, I don't know what happens to the wax. It's just not the same after it's not new anymore. So it needs a new coat of wax. Look at this one real quick. Yeah. So they're drawing that out. That's full. Just needs capped. And this side, are you drawing on it? Yeah, looks like they're starting to draw that out. With the flow slowing, I don't anticipate seeing them finish that. Okay, let's take care of this other one behind us. Get this behemoth buttoned up. All this. I'm just going to knock them in there. Man, I've almost made it through this without getting stung on the wrist. I did get stung somewhere though on the hand. All right, here's a ball of bees right here. Just knock them on the front. So these bees here will work their way back in, the ones that want in. Okay, who's keeping track of how many times I changed my mind on what I was going to do? Super, don't super. Split, find a queen, don't find a queen. 50-50. So we did stick with the 50-50 plan after I did decide that. So let's get that over there to hive position number 6. Here's position 6. You can see that nuke sitting up there. That was sitting there on top of that lid that I moved. So we'll just set that box right here. I'm going to clean that up a little bit first. This is a slatted rack. If you're wondering what a slatted rack is, I'll tell you what I think it does. So it fits on the bottom board, and the slats are in alignment with your frames. There's 10 slats. So the theory behind this is in the early spring when it's cold, your bees are up a little higher and they're away from this colder entrance. So they can draw their comb farther down and they can brood farther down. So if you got a single box, that would be helpful. So the queen could lay, instead of up here where it's just warm, her warm spot would be a little bit farther down. So that's one reason. Another thing that they do is, this time of year, when it's hot and you've got a lot of bees in the hive, it gives a little more space in here. So more bees can actually fit in the hive, and if there's more space, they're less amped to swarm, so it helps prevent swarms a little bit. That's the theory. Does it do that? I don't know. One thing for sure it does, it gets about 40 bucks out of your pocket. There is no disputing that. So when I first started beekeeping 9 years ago, I bought a whole hive from a guy in Anadarko, Oklahoma. Nicest guy you ever met. Anyway, the hive I bought from him, he sold it to me, I think it was 300 bucks. It was 2 deeps and 2 supers, and it had a hive stand, the whole 9 yards. So, I got it backwards. This part goes in front. At least that's how I put them. So his hive had one of these in it. So I thought, well, that's what every hive must have. So when I went to buy more hives, I bought one. So I probably got a dozen of these I run. Rest of them I don't. I'll run a solid bottom or a screen bottom that has the insert, and I'm getting away from the screen bottoms because they don't hold the oxalic acid vapors in it as good. They leak around that insert. And this is heavy. Oh, my slatted rack's not lined up back here. Whoa, easy, easy, ladies. Yeah, so this hive will make a queen with some of those cells. One cell was up high, so we know it didn't get tore up. And that queen will go out, mate, and come back to this hive, and she's not going to swarm. We might have a small cash swarm from one of those other queens. You know, if another virgin queen, there's more than one queen, one of the virgins leaves, a little swarm will go with her. That's called a cast swarm. That's what I call them anyway. All right. So if you take anything away from this video, you know, knowledge-wise, there are so many ways you can accomplish basically the same thing in beekeeping. I chose to keep my populations high. If I had found queens, I would have done some splits into these smaller hives. But I didn't, and the bees were just rolling in that thing, so I wasn't going to find a queen. It would have been very lucky for me to have found one. So yeah, you saw all the times I changed my mind. Every one of those options, I still could have proceeded through with it, except trying to find all those queens. You know, that wasn't working because I wasn't finding them. So I had to figure out something else to do. These 50-50 splits, I've had really good success with these because you have so much population, a lot of resources, more queen cells, a lot more odds that you will have a good queen out of multiple queens, get mated and come back. So we'll give this one the come back and visit brick. So yeah, if you don't take notes, you can use the brick method. Come back and visit me because I've got a brick. So we need to come back and check for a queen in here in about a week and see what we find. Might just be a virgin queen. Probably that's what we'll find, because I think the original queen is going to be over there in that mess. So that is the end of the video. give me a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking around if you made it this far. And we'll catch you on the next beekeeping video. Y'all take care.